discover that brand personality. If they could do it for them, surely they could do it for me.
You brought your pictures, right?
I did. The very first picture is a picture of my family.
And so tell me a little bit how it relates to your thoughts and feelings about who you are.
These are the people who shape the way I look at the world.
Tell me about this world.
This world.
Yeah.
I think your world is the world that you live in. Like the people that are around you, your friends, your family, the way you live your life, the job you do. Like all those things stemmed and started from one place, and for me, they stemmed and started with my family in West Virginia.
What's the next one you want to talk about?
The next one, this was the best day ever.
How does this relate to your thoughts and feelings about who you are?
Is like, who do I want to be? I like things that are different. I like things that are weird. I like weird things.
Tell me about the why phase. What does that do for us? What is the machete? What pupa stage are you in now? Why is it important to reboot? What does the red represent? Tell me a little bit about her.
What is it about you that's not who you are?
What are some other metamorphoses that you had?
To be feared.
What kind of roller coaster are you on? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your patience.
Great job. Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to come of this. There was a whole lot of crazy going on in there.
The first thing we saw was this idea that you had two distinct but complementary sides to your brand personality. The Morgan Spurlock brand is a mindful play brand. Those are kind of juxtaposed very nicely together, and I think there's almost a paradox with those, and I think some companies will just focus on one of their strengths or the other instead of focusing on both. Most companies tend to, and it's human nature, to avoid things that they're not sure of, avoid fear, those elements, and you really embrace those and you actually turn them into positives for you. It's a neat thing to see. What other brands are like that? The first one here is a classic, Apple, and you can see here too, Target, We, Mini from Mini Coopers, and JetBlue. Now there's playful brands and mindful brands, those sort of things that have come and gone, but a playful, mindful brand is a pretty powerful thing.
A playful, mindful brand. What is your brand? If somebody asked you to describe your brand identity, your brand personality, what would you be? Are you an up attribute? Are you something that gets the blood flowing? Are you more of a down attribute? Are you something that's a little more calm, reserved, conservative? Up attributes are things like being playful, being fresh, like the Fresh Prince, contemporary, adventurous, edgy or daring, like Errol Flynn, nimble or agile, profane, domineering, magical or mystical, like Gandalf. Or are you more of a down attribute? Are you mindful, sophisticated, like 007? Are you established, traditional, nurturing, protective, empathetic, like the Oprah? Are you reliable, stable, familiar, safe, secure, sacred, contemplative, or wise, like the Dalai Lama or Yoda? Over the course of this film, we had 500 plus companies who were up and down companies say no, they didn't want any part of this project. They wanted nothing to do with this film, mainly because they had no control. They would have no control over the final product. But we did get 17 brand partners who were willing to relinquish that control, who wanted to be in business with someone as mindful and as playful as myself, and who ultimately empowered us to tell stories that normally we wouldn't be able to tell, stories that an advertiser would normally never get behind. They enabled us to tell the story about neuromarketing as we got into telling the story in this film about how now they're using MRIs to target the desire centers of your brain for both commercials as well as movie marketing. We went to Sao Paulo where they have banned outdoor advertising in the entire city. For the past 5 years, there's no billboards, there's no posters, there's no flyers, nothing. And we went to school districts where now companies are making their way into cash-strapped schools all across America. What's incredible for me is the projects that I've gotten the most feedback out of, or I've had the most success in, are ones where I've interacted with things directly. And that's what these brands did. They cut out the middleman. They cut out their agencies and said, maybe these agencies don't have my best interests in mind. I'm going to deal directly with the artist. I'm going to work with him to create something different, something that's going to get people thinking, that's going to challenge the way we look at the world. And how has that been for them? Has it been successful? Well, since the film premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, let's just take a look. According to Burrell's, the movie premiered in January, and since then, and this isn't even the whole thing, we've had more than 900 million media impressions for this film. That's literally covering just like a 2.5-week period. That's only online, no print, no TV. The film hasn't even been distributed yet. It's not even online. It's not even streaming. It's not even been out into other foreign countries yet. So ultimately, this film has already started to gain a lot of momentum, and not bad for a project that almost every ad agency we talk to advised their clients not to take part. What I always believe is that if you take chances, if you take risks, that in those risks will come opportunity. I believe that when you push people away from that, you're pushing them more towards failure. I believe that when you train your employees to be risk averse, then you're preparing your whole company to be reward challenged. I feel like that what has to happen moving forward is we need to encourage people to take risks. We need to encourage people to not be afraid of opportunities that may scare them. Ultimately, moving forward, I think we have to embrace fear. We've got to put that bear in a cage. Embrace fear, embrace risk. One big spoonful at a time, we have to embrace risk. And ultimately, we have to embrace transparency. Today, more than ever, a little honesty is going to go a long way. And that being said, through honesty and transparency, my entire talk, Embrace Transparency, has been brought to you by my good friends at EMC, who for $7,100 bought the naming rights on eBay. EMC turning big data into big opportunity for organizations all over the world. EMC presents Embrace Transparency. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
So, Morgan, in the name of transparency, what exactly happened to that $7,100?
That is a fantastic question. I have in my pocket a check made out to the parent organization of the TED Foundation, the Sapling Foundation, a check for $7,100 to be applied towards my attendance for next year's TED.
The precision of a watch is a function of its movement. For Rolex and for Hans Wilsdorf, to guarantee the precision of a timepiece, the pressing question was how to protect the movement itself from the elements, not only water, but also tiny particles of dust. In 1926, a major step was taken with the creation of the world's first waterproof and dustproof wristwatch. The Rolex Oyster was born. Over the years, subtle changes in the design continued to improve the Oyster, adding more comfort while keeping the style contemporary. And along with style, more functions have been added. A Rolex wristwatch was the first to show the date through a small aperture on the face. It was also the first wristwatch to spell out the day of the week in full. In the early 1950s, Rolex developed professional watches whose functions went far beyond telling the time. Launched in 1953, the Submariner was the first Rolex watch guaranteed waterproof to a depth of 100 meters. Already on an incredible journey of innovation and design, Rolex decided to push the boundaries even further. In 1960, the bathyscaphe Trieste and Rolex made history. The submersible successfully dived to 10,916 meters below the surface of the ocean. A Rolex Deep Sea Special was strapped to the outside. The development of undersea exploration led to the launching in 1967 of the Sea Dweller 2000, waterproof to a depth of 610 meters. In 2008, fitted with the patented Rolex ring-lock system, the Rolex Deep Sea safely descends to 3,900 meters. The Submariner continues to evolve. In 2008, the model in gold is redesigned and features a new unidirectional rotatable bezel with a Cerachrom disc. And 2 years later, the steel Submariner is introduced with a green color combination. Rolex has incorporated countless hours and more than a century of experience, years of research, innovation, and development into every one of its models. And the benefits arising from this work, including waterproofness, precision, and durability, are the result of Rolex's continuous pursuit of perfection. From the most elegant and prestigious models to the professional timepieces, all are exquisitely crafted. Piece by piece, we design and manufacture every single watch. And the story continues.